Hi everyone, Brian here. Hope you're all well. I'm very well because I'm actually packing for my holidays. I'm going away for a few days for a long awaited and much needed break, and I'm really looking forward to that. But I thought before I went it would be nice to do another video, and particularly nice if I could do a video that would perhaps generate some responses while I'm away, something for me to look forward to when I get back. So I'm doing another tag. I know how much we love our tags, and the last couple of tags that I did were so much fun and I got such great responses. I thought, yes, it would be nice to do another one. It'd be nice to see if anyone would like to participate in this. And I thought, well, what could we do as a topic? And I have decided to just go for the big one. So this tag is about no less than your life purpose. And before I go into the detail of what the tag involves, hello Maya. Maya's going on her holiday too. She's going to the cat hotel, but don't tell her. Yes, Maya, it's a normal day. Nothing strange is going to happen today. Oh, hello, hello, yes. I'm just pretending everything's normal. I'm going to be in a state of trauma later because I've got to take her to the cattery. Oh dear. Anyway, so back to the tag. Yes, so the reason I'm doing this tag is because I want the tag to be related to the prize, and the prize is a signed copy of my first book, which is How to Find Your Vital Vocation. This book is very precious to me. I've written another book since this one, but this is my firstborn. It's the first book that I wrote and got out into the world, and it means a lot to me because the reason I wrote this book was because it's about career purpose. It's about finding your ideal work, your dream job, however you want to describe it. So it's about career purpose, but really it's about life purpose as well. And the reason I wrote it, well, a couple of reasons. One, I wanted to write a book of the type that I wish I'd had available to me when I was trying to figure out what to do with my life and really find a career and a lifestyle that meant something to me, and that wasn't so much about what society wanted me to do or other people wanted to do, but what I wanted to do in my heart. So I wanted to write that kind of book. And I also wanted to write a book that took the position that your life purpose and your career purpose doesn't have to be anything dramatic. It doesn't have to be anything huge. It doesn't have to be something that takes you to the very top of the ladder and gives you all the riches in the world. The only thing that's important about your life purpose and your career purpose is that it makes you happy, and of course that you're able to live your life and you know, make your way in the world and keep the wolf from the door and so on. And in terms of vital vocation, dream job, that's the phrase I use for, it's actually the phrase I use for the combination of whichever job you choose and the passions that you need to pursue in order to be happy. And they can be one and the same, but they can be different. So you can either have a job which is based around your passion, where you become an expert in your field and that is your thing, or you can be somebody who has a good enough job, a job that gives you enough resources to live, that keeps the wolf from the door, that doesn't make you miserable, and that allows you to pursue your passions in your spare time. And for some people, their vital vocation will be to become the CEO of a conglomerate, multinational conglomerate, and for other people, the vital vocation for them will be to be a homemaker or to be someone who, you know, just reads great literature, and that's what makes them happy, and they have a little job that keeps them with enough money to live, and they're doing what makes them happy. So it can be big, it can be small, it can be anything in between, it can be whatever you want it to be. And in the book I go through the process of helping people to build up a picture of their own vital vocation, and we look at things like what skills do you enjoy using, what are your innate talents, what are the values that you want to demonstrate in the world, what kind of environment do you need to be in to be happy, and we put all that together a bit like a jigsaw puzzle and get a picture of your vital vocation. Whatever that looks like, it's going to be different for each person, and then we go about finding it. And the second half of the book is about how you go about finding it in a number of different ways. And just to give you an example, I have worked with people who have not known what they wanted to do, and then have gone through the process I outline in this book and have gone on to get great high-flying jobs and are very successful in their careers and are, some of them now, you know, quite well known in what they do. And I've also worked with people who have used the process to downsize. So I worked with a gentleman a few years ago who was a very well paid lawyer. He was a partner in his own firm, but he was desperately unhappy. He never had any time to do what he wanted to do. And what he wanted to do was, he loved gardening and he loved listening to classical music. And he said he just didn't have the time to enjoy either of those things. So he went through the process and he ended up retraining as a hypnotherapist, and he now works part-time as a hypnotherapist. He's downsized, he lives in a much smaller home than he did, but it's a home that he loves. He's got a garden that's just big enough for him to be able to maintain without taking up all of his time, and he listens to classical music and he goes to concerts, and he has a very happy life. So he's downsized, other people have upscaled their careers and their lives. It doesn't matter. That's not what's important. What's important is that it fits you. Anyway, I'm getting on my soapbox here about the importance of finding, you know, the life that is right for you, and not the life that other people think is right for you. So, that's the purpose of the book, and the purpose of the tag is to help you think about what your life purpose might be. And the way that we're going to do it is by going through 7 questions, and I'll read you those questions in a second, and I'll talk you through how you might approach them. The important thing here is that you answer these questions in the way that suits you best. So it might be that what you do is you simply journal the answers to each of the questions, or you might meditate on each question. There are 7 questions, so you might take 1 question a day and spend a day thinking about that question and allowing that question to be with you, and just sitting in the question and seeing what comes to light, seeing what arises for you. Those of you who are into tarot and divination, etc., you might choose to take each question and turn it into a position in a tarot spread, or you might do an entire spread for each question. Or you might use a different form of divination. You might consult the I Ching or the runes or whatever works for you. So this is about you shaping this tag in the way that suits you best. The only thing that you need to do is you need to answer the 7 questions. And what I'm hoping you'll do is you will share some of the answers with us in your video responses. Now you might be somebody who is already pretty happy with your life, and you already have your life purpose, you are sure, and you're happy in your work, etc, etc, and that's great. Doesn't mean you can't participate in this tag. You can still participate in the tag, and what you might find is that there are still some things that you would like to explore in terms of meeting your life's purpose, or it might be that you have some things to share with the rest of us about how you discovered your life purpose, and how these questions help you think about how you got there and what you did and what you would share with us in order to help us learn from you. So really it's a very flexible tag in that sense. Answer the questions, do a video response, and you could win a signed copy of this book. In fact, I'm going to give away 3 signed copies of this book, so there will be 3 winners of this tag. And I'll sign it any way you want, so if it's for you, I'll sign it to you. If you don't want me to put any name in it, I'll just sign it. If you want me to sign it to somebody else that you would like to give it to, who you think might find it useful, I'll sign it to them. So we'll sort all that out once we know who the winners are. So, on to the questions. Hence the tag, which is hashtag 7 life purpose questions. And here they are. So you take each one of these questions, you contemplate it, you sit in it, you allow it to reveal things to you about your life purpose. And it's up to you how you answer them. Number 1. What are your top 5 very favourite things to do in this life? Now I know that for some of you, if you're going to answer that honestly, you might be slightly embarrassed about what you might say, but that's okay. You don't need to tell everyone what the top 5 are. You just need to work out for yourself what the top 5 are, and you need to think about what they are, and just say something about what you can say about them in your video response. So for example, I might say, if I was answering this, my top 5 very favourite things to do is 1, to read great literature, and by great literature I mean what you might call the classics, but I also mean what you might call a really good pot boiler that keeps me on the edge of my seat. 2, to write. Almost nothing else in the world makes me happier than when I'm in the flow of writing. 3, to spend time with the people I love, just being with them. And the form that that takes doesn't really matter. It's being in their presence that matters most to me. 4, I love traveling and I love seeing other parts of the world, and I love going to different cultures and learning about them. And 5, I think, if I'm really honest, number 5 would be sitting in total silence, the kind of silence where you're not even really hearing your thoughts, you're just, or I'm just being. So those are 5 things off the top of my head. You can take longer over this, and they can be anything. They don't have to be anything grandiose, just anything that matters. So make a note of them. Question number 2. If you had to identify a connection between these 5 things, what would that connection be? So you think about the 5 things that you listed, and then you think about what connects them all. And there might be more than one thing. I call it threads and themes. So you look for what are the threads and themes that connect these things together. And in my case, well, what I notice is that a lot of the things I said involved being in the flow, as they say. So you kind of lose yourself when you're reading, don't you? Or I do. And certainly when I'm writing and when I'm sitting in silence, and sometimes when I'm even with other people, because my attention is not so much on me, it's on them. And so sort of dropping into this kind of beingness, that's perhaps what connects it for me. So that was number 2. Number 3, which of your qualities do others most often recognise as being of value in their lives? Which of your qualities do other people most often recognise as being of value in their lives? And you can list more than one thing. It can be anything that you come up with. Just off the top of my head, one of the things that I notice a lot of people say to me they enjoy about my presence is that I'm a good listener. So they find it easy to talk to me and I listen to them. So that's one example. Number 4. Where do you think the world needs more support, and what activities might help provide that support? So in my case, I often think that the world needs, or people in the world need more support in questioning their own beliefs about the world and about themselves and about each other, because I perceive that a lot of the conflict in the world comes from people holding very firmly to a set of beliefs that seem to be different to others and then getting into conflict over that. And that happens at the global level, and it happens at the very mundane level in our homes over breakfast. So for me, what kind of activities? Well, anything that allows us to get beyond our beliefs and to question them, or to take on board others. So I might need to sit with that for a bit longer to think about what kind of activities might enable some of that to happen. Meditation perhaps, mediation, could be lots of other things. So that was number 4. Number 5, where is your happiest place and what kind of beings live there? Where is your happiest place and what kind of beings live there? And by beings, that could be other people, it could be animals, it could be plants, it could be imaginary creatures, it could be thought forms, it could be concepts, anything that, you know, it means to you, however that speaks to you. Where is my happiest place and what kind of beings live there? You know, I think I'll have to think about that for a bit longer. My first instinct is to say home and the people I love, like Maya and my partner, and my parents when I'm at home with them, and friends when they're staying over. But I might need to go in a bit more deeply to that to think about what might come from there. I feel there's more to dig into in that question. Number 6. If every single experience, both good and bad, in your life had been planned to train you for a specific destiny, what would that destiny be? And if you can't say specifically what that thing is, then what you can do is describe it. You can describe the qualities of it. So in my case, if every single experience, both good and bad, in my life had been planned to train me for a specific destiny, what would that destiny be? Well, I think a lot of that is actually about some of the stuff I'm doing now. Communicating things. One of the things I love to do more than anything else is to communicate tools and processes and concepts and facilities and opportunities that can help other people to be happier, to be more complete in themselves, to feel better about their lives. So I think all the experiences in my life have been training me to do much of what I'm doing now, talking to you here, writing books, doing the work that I do as a leader of a charitable organisation that works with people who are in disadvantage. And when I think of all the things in my life that have happened, that have framed my perceptions of the world, I can see quite clearly that there is a process there, a chain of events there. Not one that necessarily I always saw as a chain of events, but in retrospect I can look back and see that there was that connection, and that all of that was leading me to where I am now. And I don't think my journey is over. So that's number 6. They're getting a bit heavier, aren't they? So we're getting into the deep stuff. So this is number 7, and this is the big one. This is the money question. So are you ready? If time, money, ability, confidence, prior commitments, and your own personal beliefs were no obstacle to you doing what you wanted to do, what would you start doing today? If time, money, ability, confidence, prior commitments, and your own personal beliefs were of no obstacle to you doing what you wanted to do, what would you start doing today? Okay, so those are the 7 questions. I will of course write them out below and you can look at them in detail. You answer them however you want to answer them. You simply answer them as I've done. You journal them. You spend time over them, maybe a day for each one of them, whatever you think would work for you. You design a tarot spread for either the whole set of 7 questions or maybe a spread for each question, however you want to do it. You use other divination tools, you might use other psychospiritual or therapeutic tools in order to consider these questions. But the important thing is you answer them from your heart. You answer them from the depths of your soul, and you don't answer them from the point of view of thinking, what's the correct answer to this question? What do the listeners want me to say? What do they want to hear? What does society want from me? No, these are your questions. This is your life purpose we're talking about. And I hope you find these questions useful, and I hope you find the tag fun to do, and I'm really looking forward to seeing your videos when I get back. So until then, I will very much look forward to watching your responses, and until then, be well and be happy, and I look forward to seeing you all again very, very soon. Take care everyone. Bye.